Are you curious what's actually going on in the Phoenix housing market right now in August of 2023? You might be thinking about moving to Arizona. Maybe you already live in the Phoenix metro area and you're thinking about buying a property, selling, or maybe buying a rental property. Or you just want to know what's going on and stay up to date. That way you can make educated decisions. Well, today we're going to look at the data. I'm going to talk about what we're seeing in the market right now. So let's get into it so you can have a great idea of what's actually going on in the Phoenix housing market right now. Okay, so let's start with interest rates because interest rates seem to be the big point of conversation here in 2023. That's not necessarily new. We've been talking about interest rates, I feel like, since about June of last year, so a little over a year. And what I can say is that interest rates have been up, they've been down, they've felt like they've been all over the place. They're a little bit volatile. We're all getting whiplash. Buyers, sellers, agents, lenders, we're all, wanting some normalcy or some predictability, right? But it's just a little bit hard. We all have our hands tied in that. We don't have control over it. And as much as I want to be able to predict this for you, I don't have a great way to do that. What I know is what I have here in front of me right now. So 30-year fixed for conventional at about a 7.11%, 15-year 6.47%, 30-year jumbo 7.16%. ARM, I don't really have a lot of clients that use those, but FHA 6.76% for a 30-year, and then VA 6.75%. These interest rates are high, and so are home prices. If you're talking about, what that monthly payment is going to come out to be. And what I would say is that if you absolutely need to move, or it is like your goal to buy a home in the next year, is if interest rates are the deal breaker for you, is that you need to consider new construction. New construction is not going to work for everybody. And what we do here at the DCL team is we're going to give you both options. We're going to look at new construction and we're going to look at resale. We're going to kind of compare, contrast, see what you can get and what's going to work best for you. Some of our clients are going to go new construction. Some of them are going to go with resale. And it's going to really depend on your budget, your lifestyle, your needs, everything that is more specific to you, your financial situation, and also what you need out of your neighborhood and your home, right? But these lenders that are paired up with the builder, they're able to offer to buy down your interest rate. In May, we had a buyer get a 5.25% interest rate. This is saving them hundreds of dollars on their mortgage payment every single month by having that 5.25% interest rate. They went from renting a luxury apartment in Scottsdale to a home in Surprise, Arizona. Now they got 4 bedrooms. They got a bonus room. They have a decent sized backyard, and they are going to have to do things like blinds and landscape the backyard eventually, things like that. But for this young couple who's getting into homeownership, this made sense for them. And the builder also paid for most of their closing costs. So if you're looking at a situation like that and the interest rate is the absolute deal breaker, new construction is a good option. Now, if new construction isn't going to work for you for the area or whatever it might be, maybe you go resale and you work with us to negotiate a credit from the seller to pay down your interest rate. This could be temporarily, this could be permanently, depends on what you want to do. But this is something that is being done. Now, there's still super low inventory. And so while you're saying interest rates are high and the home prices are still high, like I need something to give, we can potentially negotiate that interest rate buy down for you in a credit, and the seller has, pays for you to have either a temporary buy down or a permanent one. But just know that you may have to be patient here. We may have to, find the right situation to get you the exact credit that you need to buy down the interest rate in a way that works for you to get it to that monthly payment you're comfortable with, or to get enough off that monthly payment the first year and then a little bit less the second year, So these are all options, but I bring this up because this is a big point of conversation for all of our buyers that are financing, is what is my interest rate going to be? Because that has so much effect on your monthly payment, and we understand that. So here's what interest rates look like. There's a lender that I follow here in the Phoenix market, and she made a post today. And if you want this post from Instagram, you can just send us a message and I can send you the video. I don't want to try to repeat it because she has a little bit of a better understanding of this whole thing, but there are some indicators that she is watching that may be following or helping interest rates follow what this indicator is doing, these certain numbers. And so if you want resources of people that we're following to learn more from and to kind of like keep our eye really closely on these things, just reach out to us. Our information is in the description and that very first comment, and you can call, text, email us, or if you're on Instagram, you want that information on social media, you can DM us. We're at Desert Term Living, just like we are here on YouTube. Okay, so now what we're going to be looking at is this overall Phoenix metro area market snapshot. Now, we subscribe to something called the Cromford Report here in Phoenix. This is a group of housing analysts that they pull all of the data from the MLS and everything that's available to them. They analyze the data. They put it into all these different charts and graphs. They also take the time every month to hop on a video meeting with us and explain and break it down. That way we can be really educated and understanding of what's actually going on in the market when we are talking with you and our clients, and we can effectively communicate what's happening and what this might mean. Now, the one thing that I think is really important to remember is that most of the country, and this is very true for the Phoenix metro area, is in a housing shortage. So this housing shortage, when we're looking at these numbers, this needs to be one of the things that's in the forefront of your mind, because this housing shortage is affecting so much. It doesn't matter that prices are high and interest rates are high, because we still have a huge demand for houses and we have a very, very low supply. And supply and demand pretty much dictate all of what we're going to see here. So if you're thinking it doesn't make sense for prices to be this, or it doesn't make sense that this is not a bubble and we're not about to pop, it does, because we have the demand for such low, very low supply. And until we have an excess of supply and demand weakens significantly, I think it's just going to remain in this pattern. Now, we're not as extreme as we were in 2020, 2021, and the beginning of 2022 in some of these things. But I know a lot of people are out there on YouTube. You know, we're on YouTube as well, right? You may be watching us on YouTube right now, but it's like they're out on YouTube, or there's news headlines and they're telling you that the market is going to crash and, you know, these prices are going to come down so low. And I just personally don't see that unless we were to get so much inventory or the demand for homes just weakened so drastically. I just don't see that kind of bubble happening. And that's what it is because we have no supply, but we have such great demand. You have to remember is that there's such a need for the housing. And the Phoenix metro area specifically, we're still growing. There's still people moving here. There's companies moving here. There are people moving here for retirement. There are people moving here to get out of the snow and the cold. There's people moving here to get away from certain politics in certain parts of the country. So there are still people moving here, and that's a demand factor. That is a factor that is going to play into this still, homes still selling, prices still remaining, in a pretty strong position. Now, are they as good as prices of March of 2022? No, but that couldn't stay that way forever. They had to come down at least a little bit, and they have. But let's look at these numbers. Let's just talk through them just a little bit. So we've got active listings are down a little bit from this time last month at 14,143. Now, that's down a lot from last quarter and last year. Now, it's been extremely hot. I feel like a lot of people, we're kind of at the tail end of summer. And so that may be why that's down a little bit. I think it could be seasonally. Our team usually helps a pretty good amount of buyers and sellers, I feel like, in the fall, like right before the holidays. So we'll kind of have to see. But obviously we have lower inventory. We had a big influx when rates started going up and things stopped flying off the shelves this time last year. But, 2 years ago, we're looking a lot better than we were 2 years ago with only 10,000 under contract. And these are contracts that are also contingent on the buyer selling their home. So We're down a little bit here, 2696, so a little bit less of these under contract. Active listings, not including what's under contract, is down just a little bit. Actually, no, that's up a little bit. So what's active, so hasn't gone pending or under contract yet, which is just a little bit more than last month. And then pending listings is down just a little bit as well. So total number of listings is down, meaning that it's normal that if the total number of listing is down, like if you think about it as like a funnel, like, oh, your total listings here, under contract and contingent, and then pending, and then sold, it's like, okay, if this number is lower, these numbers are going to be lower as well as you work your way like down that funnel, essentially. It's like my marketing brain thinking about the numbers this way. So listings under contract, a little bit lower. Last quarter was about 3,000 more. Sales per month is down just a little bit. And then the sales per year number is down just a tad bit as well. Days on market is going down. So you can see last month we were at 64 days on market, and then last quarter 73. So that's actually good. That's strong, meaning homes are selling a little bit quicker. They're not staying on the market as long. And the active numbers are also going down just a little bit slower than the actual sales, but that's good. You want to see that if you're going to put your house on the market, you're not going to be sitting on the market for 6 months, right? It happens sometimes, but if you're priced pretty well, you shouldn't be on the market for 6 months if the price, condition, and location all are working together. Days of inventory excluding UCB is 56. And that month supply is 1.8. We want to see about a 3 to 6 month supply to be in like kind of a balanced market of how much inventory we have available. So again, this is a shortage. It's up a little bit more from last month and up a little bit from last quarter. Last year we had 2.8 months. So still, I mean, we've been in a housing shortage for years, so this is a bigger problem than just this year or last year or even the last couple of years. I think this has really been as a result of when builders stopped building in, the late 2000s because of the housing market crash. They pulled out of their projects and they stopped building for quite a while. And that growth that was happening kind of it plateaued for a while. But you still had people moving here. We still had growth happening in the valley. And that delayed the growth of the available inventory. So active listings, dollar per square foot. This doesn't really matter all that much because people can try to sell their house, right? You can try to sell your house for $1 million right now. It doesn't mean it's worth that, and that's what the market value is. But just interesting to note that that's 351.69, which is down just a tad bit from last month. And then also down a little bit from last quarter, but that was up from this time last year. So that's interesting. Sold price, dollar per square foot, though, is $282.74, which is down just, about $5. This is really dependent because you could have an area like Scottsdale or Paradise Valley have less of those listings selling this month, and next month they could sell quite a few. And then that number could go up again. Some of those outliers. That's why it's really important if you want like specific zip code or suburb or city numbers that you just reach out and ask us for that, and we can provide that, kind of give you some more context. I can record a video like this and show you what's going on in that specific area because you're looking at a very large area and these are just an overview of numbers, right? I'm going to pull a couple of cities here in just a little bit. Appreciation. Now, appreciation has been in the negatives. And so you can see we went from last quarter's negative 7.4%, negative 3.4%. So it's the negative appreciation is, it's increasing, right? This is an increasing number, even though we're going from less negative to closer to, 0, right? And then maybe we'll go in a positive direction of appreciation. So home values, yes, down a little bit last month, down a little bit the quarter before. But it seems like we are heading into positive appreciation. The average sales price to list price. This is super important because there are deals to be had still in this market and there is room for negotiation. But you can see, again, it's not like homes are selling. a crazy amount below the listing price. If you're priced well, that sales price to list price ratio is about 98.08% on average. I'm going to show you in a little bit a couple of these cities here in the Northwest Valley that are, to see where they're at. They're pretty close to this number. Okay, and then if we look at the average price, $560, $411. Again, this is really, if you fine tune this data, you look at a specific zip code, maybe even a neighborhood. This is just general. This isn't going to necessarily apply. Buckeye is going to be far different than Scottsdale, which is going to be a lot different than Gilbert. So just things to consider. 437, 241 for monthly sales in the median price. So just consider, area again here, but let's go look at a couple of different cities, more specific areas, and look at some of these numbers. Okay, so we are looking at, this is for Scottsdale. So if you look at Scottsdale, active listings is at 988, under contract, and then active there, you can see under contract contingent 161, active is 827, and then pending is 224. They had 328 sales, in the last month, which is down from 403 the month before. Sales, per year though, that number went up. So we're a little bit up from, where we would have been last quarter. So, trending slightly upward for the year view. Days on market is 81 for sales and then 105 for what's active. So, again, not too bad. Scottsdale's going to have a higher price point. So typically when you see the higher price points have higher days on market, that's not unheard of. It's pretty common, actually. 2.5 months supply, excluding what's under contract, accepting backup. So that is a little bit better. It's up from the month before, so it's not, it's not too bad. But last quarter was at 2.6, so it's down from last quarter. Let's go to the sales price, dollar per square foot, which was for the last month, $478.94, considerably up from that general Phoenix snapshot we just looked at. Appreciation was negative 1.5%, which is down actually from 0.6% positive appreciation. So just things to consider. Now, let's go to sales price to list price, 96.18%. So this is down a little bit from the month before. But again, when you're looking at those higher price points, sometimes there's a little bit more room in that sold to list price ratio, but that's still pretty strong. That's really strong if you're looking at, deals still. There's still, there's room. There's like a, a little bit of a gap, but it's not anything crazy where all these sellers, unless they're really priced poorly, are just going to be accepting lowball offers, right? The average price for the monthly sales was $1,395,000. The median price in there was $979,500, and then for the year, the median price is right at $1 million. So that's pretty pretty good. It's up or same as last month for the year, and then down a little bit from last quarter. Let's now go to the city of. We're going to go to Glendale. So active listings is down a little bit, but we're at 329. Under contract is 84, which is up, and active is 245, which is down from last month. And then pending is down 144. So there's 228 contracts down, 213 sold last month. Days on market, only 40 days. So Glendale is going pretty quickly. These aren't sitting on the market very long. Sold dollar price per square foot, $249.38. Significantly more affordable than, of course, Scottsdale. But again, that's the importance of looking at this specific area. And again, if you're looking at North Glendale versus Glendale by Westgate versus Glendale over by Luke Air Force Base, these numbers, again, are going to be different in those areas as well. Sale to list price ratio, 99.27%. Not really much gap there. So things are going pretty close to list price here in the city of Glendale. Monthly sales average for the last month was $471, which is down a little bit, but again, it's very, it's really specific, these numbers, on what was happening the prior 60 to 90 days when these homes were going under contract, and just what inventory was available. For the median price, that was $432,500. For the year, it's at $430,000. So, again, a little bit more of an affordable area. Things are going quicker and closer to list price in Glendale, Arizona. If we look at Peoria, we're looking at 377 homes, so a little bit more. Listings under contract is 204. There was 187 sales this last month, which is down a little bit from the month prior. Days on market is only 50 days, but that number is going down as well, down 8 days from the month before. So again, things are going, this is pretty quick. I mean, if you have your home on the market and sold in 50 days, I mean, that's pretty quick. You're not waiting a long time to have your house sell. Sold price per square foot, $262.68. Now, again, really important, if you look at 85345, which is the south portion of Peoria, that's probably going to be lower versus 85383 is going to be much higher. So just keep in mind that even cities within themselves are going to have different areas that are going to have different price points. Sale to list price ratio is 98.86%. So a little bit lower than Glendale, but still not a huge gap in between what homes are listed for versus what they're actually selling at. So just keep that in mind when you're negotiating or when you go to make an offer, is just what's happening in the market. And if you need more off the listing price or you need that credit, just keep in mind that maybe you need to go closer to the listing price and ask for the credit, because the seller, if they know, hey, we're probably going to sell this house around, if we're priced right, around 98% of list price, and we're giving you a credit, I'm not going to go down much further if I'm also going to give you a credit, so that's coming out of my net. So just different considerations there, and information to arm you as you go into making any kind of real estate decision to know what's actually happening. Monthly sales were $560,923, so up a little bit in price. The median price was $495,900, and the median price for the year is at $515,000. So a little bit higher than Glendale, but again, we do have 85383 as a higher end and luxury zip code. There's going to be some higher end properties too that are pulling up that price. Now, Glendale also has that. They have 85308 zip code and 85310 zip code that are higher end. Now, I want to go to Surprise, and then I'm going to finish in Phoenix, even though Phoenix is huge and has different sections within Phoenix. But again, if you want specific areas, just reach out to us. Or if you're like, hey, I'm thinking about doing something in one of these areas and I kind of want to know more information about the market, we can help you out. Surprise has a lot of new construction. So you can see they had an increase in active listings, and UCB and contingent on buyer sale went up. The active listings besides those went up, and the pending listings went down a little bit, but sometimes it's hard because you don't know what the listing agent is going to put or the seller is going to want, if it's UCB or if it's pending. And contingencies is all just dependent upon negotiations as well. So 364, which is down a little bit, but up from some of the other numbers we saw, and then 298 sales. Days on market is 62. That number is decreasing. So again, you're not sitting on the market super long. You're doing pretty well there. 1.9 months of supply, excluding what's under contract, accepting backup offers. So again, this is a super short inventory market, which is why things are going close to list price, which is why things are not sitting on the market super long. They may be sitting on the market longer than they were at the beginning of 2022 and 2021, but that's just because buyers are being a little bit more picky and choosy and taking their time, especially with these interest rates, because they're going to be paying good money for these homes. They want to make sure they're making the right decision. Sold dollar per square foot is $224, so pretty affordable. And then the annual sales price per square foot is $227. Sales price to list price is at 98.67%. Pretty strong. We're sitting strong here. A little bit of room for negotiation. The numbers that we can't see in here is how much seller credits are being given. So I do know that seller credits are being given for rate buy downs and everything with how rates are doing. And those numbers are not part of this, but we do know that they're happening. But it seems like with the market still holding on to activity and, not plummeting like crazy, that number is not a super large amount on average that's being given per home. But again, it's up to you and negotiation and what you need and working it out with the seller or the builder, with your agent, and making that situation come together in the right way. So it's not going to be on every property, but I know there are properties that are, and sellers and builders that are giving credits for these rate buy downs right now. Average price for the monthly sales was $459,996, and then median price was $429,238. Median price for the year is $430,000. So a little bit more affordable in the city of Surprise. Surprise has a lot of new construction. Peoria has some. Glendale has some as well, but Surprise has a lot more than those other cities, I think. Okay, we're going to go last to Phoenix. Now, we talk a lot about North Phoenix and Anthem on this channel, and we don't do as much with clients in, downtown Phoenix, Central, Midtown, Uptown, all those areas. But I do think it's important to note that, like, Anthem and North Phoenix are going to be higher end than some of those areas. And then, if you were to look at a neighborhood like Arcadia is going to be a luxury area for the most part. And so those numbers, it's really hard to look at Phoenix as a whole like this because there's just so many different pockets. You have parts of downtown Phoenix that are super old and tiny homes that are from like the 50s. And then you have, these newer neighborhoods, and you have higher end neighborhoods. You have like everything, everywhere in between. You can see with the active listings number here at 1533, again, that Phoenix is just a very large area. I think Phoenix north to south is, if I remember, like 30 or 40 miles, between the bottom part of Phoenix to the north part of Phoenix. Under contract and contingent is down a little bit. Active listings is at 1124. Pending is at 547. 956 total listings under contract. 869 sales last month, which was up a little bit from the month before. Days on market is at 47. That stayed exactly the same. It's down from last quarter. So again, you're not on the market very long here at all. A 1.3 month supply of inventory. So again, just housing shortages, inventory shortages. This is just a big thing that we are facing in the Phoenix metro area in general. Okay. Sold price per square foot is at $302.19. And for the annual number, that's at $292.90. So again, look at specific zip codes, look at specific areas of the Phoenix area, depending on where you're looking, because this number, I think, is going to fluctuate a lot between all those different cities, neighborhoods, and zip codes. Just, when you're looking at these larger city areas. I mean, I feel like Phoenix could make up 4 or 5 cities on its own if you were to actually break it up into different cities. Appreciation, negative 0.9%. So they went from negative 4.5% to negative 0.9%. So I think if you look at this number next month, it could be positive appreciation if you're looking at these numbers a month from now, potentially with the trend of where it's going. The sales price to list price ratio is at 98.35%. So that's down a little bit from the month before. But again, that's still pretty strong. And worth noting that, if you want a really good deal, now we just had a client close, and they didn't, their appraisal came in $100,000 over our contract price, which was great. Those deals, you have to really look for them. You have to identify the right situation with the seller. You have to make sure that you have an agent that's going to bat for you and that knows your situation. That's not going to be the situation on every single house. And we're going to tell you the story about that on an upcoming video. So if you haven't, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. That way when we release that video soon, you get notified. But there's opportunities for deals to be had in this market, but it's not going to be like you're going to come in at any property you see on the market and just be able to do a lowball offer and get it accepted. Unfortunately, we have people that we talk to that's what they want, and I just don't think it's realistic for this market. There are deals to be had, but you really have to find the situation And it has to work for all parties involved. You know, you can't just say, oh, interest rates are high and I want you to just give me $100,000 off of your house. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So just keep that in mind, that, you know, sales price to list price ratio is pretty strong. So, you know, depending on what your goals are, what you're looking for, either as a buyer or a seller, just keep those numbers in mind. And keep in mind too, as a seller, that just because you list your home, and let's say you list your home and you want $50,000 more than what the homes are really going for in your neighborhood, you know, you're not going to get this 98.35% until you drop the price down to the right price it needs to be. So, you know, that's not really something that you can just say, well, homes are going for 98.35%. So if I list my house over 50,000, you know, I'm still going to get that 98% number. You're probably not, in most cases, unless your house is just super nice, turnkey, super updated, and it works for that area. It can happen, but it's not the norm, you know, if you're overpricing the home. Okay. The average price for monthly sales was $604,195. Again, pretty specific to area here. So there's certain parts of Phoenix that's going to be way too high for, and there's certain parts of Phoenix that's going to be a little bit lower for. Median price was at $481. And for the year, median price is at $445. So this is just a few cities. These are a lot, you know, I could go through every single major city here, and I could also pull up the charts for the secondary cities here. The thing with that is that that's going to be a super freaking long video, and also I think that it's good to give you an overview, but I don't want to overwhelm you. If you want more of this, or you want to see specific areas, reach out to us and we can send you like a screen recording like this and help you out, kind of understand that area, whether it's maybe a zip code, maybe it's a different suburb, maybe it's one of the minor cities like Sun City or Sun City West or Anthem. And we can pull that data for you and kind of go through it and help you understand what's going on in that specific area that you're interested in, to help you better understand the market. If you're thinking about moving here to Phoenix, Arizona, we are licensed real estate agents here in the state, so you can reach out to us whether you're thinking about moving here in 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years. Just go ahead and call, text, email, or you can DM us on social media. Our information is going to be in the description and the very first comment of this video. We are here to help answer your questions, help you find the right neighborhood, lifestyle, find the home, and everything that fits your budget and your wants and needs. And if you haven't already, to continue to learn all about the Phoenix housing market, what's going on there, what it's like to live here, relocating here, and everything in between, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and we will see you on the very next video.